Hello chums, it's a Captain Steve vlog, and today chums, I'm getting rid of my Virgin Media TV package and I'm moving on to a broadband only package and getting better speed. Heck yes, but I'm also cancelling my BBC TV licence because that's like what, £150 odd for the year. With that I can get Netflix, Amazon and Disney Plus. I can get all of those for the price of that, and yet I don't watch live TV. So this video is why I don't watch live TV, and it is a little bit political. Word of warning. Well chums, as you know, I'm a gamer and a YouTuber, so yes, I very rarely would sit and watch any live TV. I can't even remember the last time that I actually watched a live TV programme, because when you turn the TV box on, it takes about 6 minutes to actually come on and actually tune into the channels. It's a pain in the frickin' backside, and then by that time you've already missed the main headlines. So yeah, I always get my news and things from online. And yes, I'm finding it increasingly difficult to get unbiased news. And I'm finding that BBC, that used to pride itself on being unbiased, is becoming more biased. And they seem to censor out or only give one side of a story. Take for instance the giant protest that happened just the other day in London, where thousands of people went to protest against the mandates that affects nurses and they may be losing their jobs. I've got a lot of nursing friends and I feel quite passionately about this one, so I was shocked to see a media blackout of this protest I'm sharing with you now on screen.
Are you really prepared to lose all of your colleagues? All of your essential service workers? Are you really prepared to lose all your essential workers? Are you? Are you going to stand by and let this happen? Or are you going to support them? Shame on you! Shame on you!
Okay, there's droves of people at this protest. They go on as a frickin' sea of them. There's loads of them there, all in protest, and many of them NHS workers. They actually throw their uniforms over with, signatures and things on them and all sorts of other statements upon their uniforms about how they feel about this. Now, this is a massive section of the public that are doing this, and they're against the mandates, because where does it stop? Where does it move to next? Who's next in line? It could be those police officers throwing their uniforms next. If we let this ride, where does it stop? So there is that, but also it's the fact that the BBC just hasn't covered this. It's a complete blackout. It's like censorship. If you're not going to cover it, BBC, you're being biased. And why are you being biased? That's the thing. So if you are covering things up or just not giving it a platform, people start wondering why. And don't you think that's doing more damage to the actual sort of the campaign and the sort of both sides of the story sort of argument? To just shut one side down is just, that's not on. Just because you've got the power to do it doesn't mean it's right. Heck no, it doesn't. And at the same time, these protesters are going out mainly because they're frustrated. So if you're not giving them a platform to actually put their frustrations out there, what happens next with these protests? Where does it go next? Well, they're actually having a parliamentary discussion upon the mandates today on the 24th of January. We'll see how that goes, shall we? We'll see if you cover that one. Okay, so I'll go over to the BBC website. So let's go on to bbcnews.com and have a look to see if they've actually covered this. Now, considering that the massive swathe of the public were there in protest, a good portion of them probably licence payers for the TV licence, and to get a fair sort of platform to stand on and to be heard, you'd like to think that the BBC would do that, especially since it was such a big thing. And the whole statement of throwing those uniforms over, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future history, I want to be on the right side of future history, that says that censorship is wrong. Everybody should have the platform to say what they want to say, and where they should do it is on their state media. The BBC, being the British Broadcasting Corporation, should be giving our people the platform to give a voice. Even if they feel that the voice is wrong, they can put whatever slant they want on the headline, but to not even cover it is freaking out of order. So I've searched for NHS. I've also searched for the word protest. And when you search for the word protest, something quite alarming happens on here, people. So considering I'm in England and I want to see all the protests that have taken place in England, I put in the word protest, you get a couple. Yes, the light-hearted protest where 3 people turn up dressed as dogs, but no, you don't get anything about the protests that are happening about the NHS mandates, or the NHS workers getting sacked, or even those that happened beforehand with all of the healthcare staff. But you do get stuff with Belgium clashing with police about COVID, or other countries, but nothing about England. Yet it's the British Broadcasting Corporation. Well, it makes me think that all these corporations are sort of interlinked. Yes, some sort of global consortium where they only want to give you one narrative, one message, and you know what, I've had enough. I'm getting unfiltered news now from Russell Brand, of all people, Hugo Talks, and a few other noteworthy sort of channels like Joe Rogan, heck yes. And you're probably thinking, well, maybe they've done that just over in England, But no, you go onto their YouTube channel, which BBC News for the world, to see what's happening in England. Any mention of the protests in any of their video uploads? No, but they're happy to put stuff out about frickin' Biden and pretty much everything else that's going on in the world. But no, nothing at all when it comes to our own protests inside of our own country. And anybody looking in wouldn't even know that a protest is happening. They won't even know the plight of the NHS and the choices that the NHS workers are being made to have. I mean, they might even recant or extend this mandatey type stuff for 6 months is what they're talking about now. There's actually a petition that got signed that they're talking about in Parliament today. Yet again, no mention about that inside any of these news channels of the BBC. So if they're not willing to give a platform to the public to air their views in protest or otherwise, then why should I give them a platform inside of my living room to brainwash me into their way of thinking and into a narrative that is just one-sided and blinkered? No thank you, BBC. I'm ending my licence. Until next time, people, goodbye, and goodbye again. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like and a subscribe, and I'd like to say a massive great big thank you to all of my backers over on Patreon and over on YouTube membership. Thanking you, backers! And if you want to support this channel, just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Or yeah, just stay with Captain Steve that little bit longer and hit something on this screen. There's merch here now too.